Uh, there you go. Yeah, so I want to start with land acknowledgement and like to recognize that we are on the unceded territories of First Nations within the regional boundaries. I myself I live and work in Squamish, so unceded territories of Squamish Nation. Um, and we will do a roundtable because we do have new members, people that might not know everyone. So I will start from the top. Carmen, can you introduce yourself?
My name's Carmen Stacy. I represent the PWA, the Pemberton Wildlife Association, on the board, and my primary concern are wildlife issues in relation to solid waste.
Thank you. Lou.
Hi, my name's Lou. I am the Director of Social Enterprise for Whistler Community Services. So I oversee the Reuse It and Rebuild It stores, the tool library, and their truck recycling program, all through, again, Whistler Community Services here in Whistler.
Thank you. Andrew.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Tucker. I work for the municipality of Whistler, and I manage the waste management program for the municipality. So that's our facilities, operations, and renewal, as well as the outreach program. So I work with others on our solid waste team to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon Friday.
Hi, I'm Shannon Friday. Feel free to call me Friday because there's a lot of Shannons here. And I am the Zero Waste Coordinator for Squamish Climate Action Network. And we've been fortunate enough in the last few years to do some work with both the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District and District of Squamish with curbside recycling monitoring and diversion rates. Yeah.
Thank you. Sue.
Sure. My name's Sue Maxwell. I have my own consulting firm, Eco Inspire, but I also am the chair of Zero Waste BC. And with that, we try to advocate for zero waste in British Columbia and yeah, and also try to make good things happen locally as well. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Shannon White.
Good afternoon. My name is Shannon White. I am the integrated solid waste specialist at the District of Squamish, so oversee the landfill as well as curbside collection and other waste reduction initiatives that we take on.
Thank you. And Scott.
Hey there, I'm Scott Kerr. So I'm working for Evergen Infrastructure, who is the owner of Sea to Sky Soils and a few other facilities now. So I spend most of my days at the Sea to Sky Soils site trying to figure out good ways of keeping organic waste out of the landfill and get it composted and back into the hopefully food production chain.
Awesome. Thank you. Vanessa.
Hi, everybody, Vanessa Lafontaine, Communications and Project Coordinator with Environmental Services for the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District. So I work really closely with Mahlou on all things solid waste.
Perfect. And well, Marie-Lou Leblanc, Resource Recovery Coordinator for the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District. I work closely with Vanessa, everything solid waste, from operation, curbside collection, depot, landfill, to strategy and policy. So, okay, now that the introduction is done, let's review and approve the agenda. Vanessa, can you pull the agenda, please? I didn't say anything, but thank you. Like, I know we shoveled the meeting quite a bit. So, oh, we have Tom joining. Awesome.
Hold on, I closed it by accident, which is
Well, that would give us time to, hi, Tom.
Hi,
How are you doing?
good.
Good. We just did the introduction. We have two new people in a team. Do you mind doing a quick introduction of yourself?
Sure. I'm Tom Laviolette. I'm with the Liwa Nation. I'm their Director of Infrastructure, which includes the solid waste management. And we have two transfer stations on reserve that we deal with. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you. So we're just ready to review the agenda and do the review and approval. So we're just gonna share it with all of you guys. And so as you can see, Laura from District of Squamish won't be is not attending, so she won't be able to provide an update on the Big Brother bin initiatives. And Lauren from Westro won't be able to present the construction and demolition waste best practice guide. That will give us more time for the roundtable. And if we finish earlier, then that's also great. Before we approve the agenda, I would like to ask if there's any additional topic that people would want to bring up to this November's meeting. I don't see any hands. So can I get approval of the agenda? We have Shannon, and then can I get a second? And we have Sue Maxwell. Perfect. Thank you so much. We will now look at the minute from the June 19 meeting. We're not going to go through it, but can I get approval of the minutes, or if you saw that and like things need changes, let us know. Oops, sorry. Can I get approval? We have, let me see. We have Sue and we have Tom. Thank you so much.
And Mary Lou, just
Yes.
one thing. Normally it's like Tom first, Sue seconds it, but then you should say all in favor, just in case somebody else is not really excited about it. Although I'm sure they're fine with the minutes, but just a note.
Thank you so much. So Tom first, Sue second. I didn't see which hand was first, so that's why. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Louise, I see you have your hands up. Can I assume that you are in favor?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, we're gonna get there. I'm even if I've been doing it for quite a bit now, I'm still learning, I guess. Okay. So objective, so we can go back to the agenda, Vanessa. So the objective of this meeting is always to review where we're at with the solid waste management plan. So this one is a 2016 management plan that was approved by the ministry in 2019. So we're going to go through where we're at. And then also kind of like moving forward actions that we still need to be taking on, that still need progress on. So we'll review that. And it's great for us, for the SRRD and for member municipalities to hear from organizations that are in solid waste, to kind of like make sure that we're focusing on the right thing as part of the solid waste management plan. And if there's anything lacking, that we can address it. And then we're going to do a roundtable, which will provide opportunities for everyone to update on what they're doing, also different topics, challenges. It's always a great opportunity for all of us to learn from each other. So, so I jump a little bit. I welcome the new members first. So sorry about that. Okay, so the SROD update and progress. Vanessa and I, we put a quick list together, and it's kind of I'll start and then I'll let Vanessa updating you guys on what the education and special projects that she's done. In terms of on my end for the SLRD and the solid waste management plan, this year was a big year, especially for contractors. We enrolled 3 new contractors as of September 2024. Goldbridge Transfer Station, we have a new contractor. Lillooet Landfill and Recycling Center, we have a new contractor, as well as Divine Transfer Station. So all of that took quite a bit of time to organize, get requests for proposal, get the approval from the board, and then just train the new contractors and get them up to speed and trying to fix the little things that you learn as you go through a different contractors. Sometimes there's things that you're not quite fully aware when they've been doing the job for so long. So you didn't have to focus on those. And then when you get a new contractor, you kind of like start asking way more questions and figure all the little details. So there was a lot of that, a lot of operation on my end. I can give you a brief update on what we've been doing in terms of like little new things at our facilities. In terms of the Goldbridge Transfer Station, we were able this year to chip that Fire Smart program materials instead of organizing a burn. It's getting harder to organize burns and get the approval from the ministry, but getting a chip to Goldbridge, it's quite a challenge. So we were able to use one of the contractors' chipper that was already in the area to be able to chip the material. So we'll be able to use that most likely in Lillooet. So that was a good thing. Tires, we've been doing a great significant improvement in the amount of tires that was removed on site. So we currently have 165 tires. We probably started at over 1,000 tires 2 years ago. So I'm really, really happy with that. And that couldn't happen without our partner in terms of tire stewardship, but as well as Lillooet disposal contractor was a big part of that. And then we've been able to do quite a bit of work on the propane tanks as well, removing a significant amount. We still have a significant amount on site that we're trying to remove. It's just a challenge to get the people up there. It's remote. It's not in the scheduled route, so it's always a special request. In terms of Lillooet, with the new contractor, we were able to reopen the reuse it shed. So I know that's a big win for the community. I know they're loving it, and it's as far as I can tell, last time I was there, it's really well used, it's well maintained, it's clean. So we're really, really happy with that. So that's a big win for us. That's a big win for the community, and that's a big win for working towards more diversion. In terms of more diversion, we're also able to use the concrete, would be able to use the concrete as road base instead of landfilling it. The previous contractor couldn't make a use of it. They were trying to use the concrete the most efficient way as possible, like trying to keep the mattress down with putting concrete on top, but obviously diverting concrete from being landfill is a better use of the material. So that's also a big win. We have we have a good litter fence as well, so hopefully that will help with the flying plastic, small items at the landfill. And we will be using the chips material as part of the landfill site maintenance, using it as cover. You just need to have the proper ratio between chips and soil to make sure that you're not triggering any wildfire. So the current contractor, they have quite a bit of experience with that. So would be able to use it and use it for site maintenance as well, kind of like keeping the site clean. So that's a little, and we just made a few changes with the recycled BC materials, the way we are handling it. So yeah, everything is going well. And in Divine Transfer Station, again, new contractor, a lot to learn on their end. We're looking at, we just completed an efficiency review with a professional, and we're waiting on the final draft. And then we're still waiting on the tenure to make further improvement on that site. So it's something that we applied in 2020. So it's 4 years now, and we're still waiting, but I'm pretty confident that in 2025 we will have the tenure. We did in 2024 with the District of Squamish, we did a waste audit targeting only Britannia Beach and Furry Creek. So I can ask Vanessa to pull the results. We are making improvement, but there's still a fair amount of materials that are still being landfilled that could be diverted. So as you just
Sorry, within the middle of the document, which section would you like me to go to?
The pie chart.
For the Lillooet?
No, it's not Lillooet. It would be either Britannia Beach or
Britannia Beach.
Furry Creek. Okay. So the first one.
So it was this one.
Yes. So we're still like landfilling quite a bit of organics while it's going down compared to previous years. So we're down at 21%. And I just want to remind people, like, this is one day in the year. Like, this is one Wednesday from a curbside collection. So it doesn't give like a full portrait of what's happening, but it still give us a good idea of where we're at and where we need to focus on. I would say we can see that there's fair amount of textile being landfilled, 14%. Paper, plastic, it's almost like feels like there's while we keep educating and we organize like pop-up depot where we do accept those, there's still quite a bit going to the landfill, including metal, and well, glass is not too bad. It's going down a little bit, so I'm happy with that because we do have unmanned depot for glass. So, but there's still improvement to make. Electronic waste at 3%. I'm not. I would like to see that going down. I don't know the rest of the province what the stats are and if we're like doing better or worst. But electronic waste obviously shouldn't be landfilled. And then if we look at Britannia Beach,
Did you want to go over this one, or do you want me to skip over
no, I
it?
don't know. We can share the report.
Yeah.
I don't want to take too much time either. So for Britannia Beach, there's a little bit more organics being landfilled, 27%, a little bit more glass at 4%. But then like plastic, paper, textile, it's still quite high. Electronic waste, 1%. I don't think we can get lower than that. And then hazardous waste, 1% as well. Could be batteries, something like that. And then way less material, like building materials from Britannia Beach and from Furry Creek. I and then yeah, overall, SLRD was able to enroll with MAR early this year. We were able to stream to kind of like better organize their household batteries. Thanks to Denise, Call to Recycle, and Shannon, we were able to participate in the curbside collection batteries in November. So for Britannia Beach and Furry Creek, the only two communities we have with curbside collection. So that was great. And other than that, we continue to work with Fire Smart program, supporting communities around, and SRG would take over. Like we need to look at data and the review of those data. I know there's a few things that the province didn't. I don't know what happened, but we have a meeting with the province to look over the data because something went wrong with the number I provided and what they entered in their system. So I know there's more that we can do to make sure that data are accurate as much as possible. Before I pass it on to Vanessa, I just want to ask if you guys have any questions. Okay, I don't see any hands, so we're gonna pass it on to Vanessa.
Perfect. Did you want me to open the Excel sheet that we're following and go over that, or do you want me to just, because I can interlace my points into the Excel document?
No, we will review the Excel document at the end.
Perfect. So I'm gonna keep it brief. Just to mention that we have a jam-packed agenda. We're going to have a block where the libraries from the region are going to come talk to us. So we might pause and then come back to the updates at the end of the meeting. So in the roundtable section. For me, one of the things that we have been working on was the contamination remediation in Britannia Beach and Fur Creek. So those are our curbside collection communities. We had a starting rate of 6.21% contamination, and that was based from November 22nd to October 23rd. And when we say contamination, for those who are not familiar, it's items that don't belong in the paper and packaging program. And we had a target rate of 4.66% by December 2024. And then in the last 6 months, our rate was down to 4.51. And then if we just look at that whole scope from that November 2022 to September 2024, we're sitting at a 6.10. So it has gone down. When we look at the longer time period, it doesn't go down as much. But if we look at the 6 month period, we're doing really well. Some of the high contaminants that we're still seeing in the curbside collection for those communities are glass and non-paper packaging items. So like plastic products that don't belong in the recycling system are still being put in there. Over the summer, we had Shannon from Squamish-Can, who's with us today, who was doing audits every other week in the communities of Britannia Beach and Prairie Creek. We did 9 audits in total, so that's every 2 weeks from May to September. I think we only missed one. And what we're doing is that we're going to send a summary to the households who we were able to target 3 or more times on how well they did on a star rating of 5. So either they did 0 stars or 5 stars. And like a letter that accompanies that is going to say, wow, you're amazing, keep it up, or hey, we're here to help. Here are the things that you could work on. So we're just working through those letters. There's quite a few, there's 113. So hopefully we'll be able to send that before the end of the year. So that was for contamination remediation on our curbside audits. We also have a program called the Diversion Ambassadors. We have 2. We have one in the north, so that's electoral area A and B, and one in the south for C and D. For the south, we have a partnership with Squamish-Can. And for the north, we have a partnership with the Lillooet Connect Hub. That's only a short version of their name. And for the south, we were able to attend 2 events, the Britannia Beach Canada Day Celebration and the Brackendale Fall Fair. Shannon, if I'm missing any, please feel free to jump in. We hosted 8 pop-up depots. That's in both communities. So 8 days, so twice as many, so 16 individual depots. And we collected 14 45-gallon bags of flexible plastics, 2 45-gallon bags of foam, and one of those 2-gallon buckets that Denise provided for batteries. And then for the north, we're really excited because there was a new project this year. Last year, we piloted the south and it went well. And then this year, we were able to get that partnership with the Lillooet Connect Hub. We had 2 youth, and when I say youth, I mean individuals that can be up to 25 years of age, working with us. And we attended, or they attended, I attended some of them, 10 events, and one is scheduled to be in December, so they're going to attend the holiday market. They hosted bicycle repair in collaboration with Porca, and they hosted a Halloween candy workshop and recycling education event in collaboration with a local resident. We developed a fun engagement tool in the form of beanbag games for the event. So we have a version that we use for curbside collection residents, and then we have another that we use for residents on the depot system. I've made the template available to Aware and our member municipalities. So if any of you want to use it and get one printed, it costs us $45 to get it printed. It's an easy, fun, and interactive way to teach recycling. We had our Make Soil Not Waste campaign. It's basically in 2 sections. One section is outreach, and the other is social media campaign. For the outreach, it was a partnership with the Stewardship Pemberton Society. They delivered 5 workshops from Pemberton, Electoral Area C, and one in collaboration with Naquaqua. For the campaign itself, the social media one, we did 8 posts over 2 months, and there was 3,932 interactions on our posts, and those were not boosted. They were just organic on the SLRD's Facebook page. And then The Stewardship Pemberton Society shared 12 posts, which is pretty amazing collaboration. And then we made the campaign available to our member municipalities via a shared drive on the O Drive for them to share and use as well. And then it was sent to Sioux Center and the Stewardship Pemberton for feedback. Just making sure I'm staying on time because I don't want to eat into our library time here. There we also had there's a program for that campaign. It ran in November, so it just ended. We had 5 posts. Those were actually boosted, so they were not on the SLD website. They were advertisements. We touched on light, used motor oil, small appliances, electronics, and there's a lot of emphasis on batteries on any of the posts that would electronics and small appliances. We spent a total of $74.52 to boost those posts, and we had a total of 10,589 interactions. We also promoted the BC single-use and plastic pollution regulation. So we're doing 1 post a month for 12 months to try to keep the momentum going so that people know that it is happening and the regulations have been implemented and some are still to come. We have the Aware in School workshops. They just launched for this school year. This year, we implemented a teacher toolkit for installing a waste station in classrooms. And we are sending interested children from grade 6 to lower with bookmarks that have the waste hierarchy on it and quick tips on how they can easily reduce waste at home or their parents can reduce waste at home. Things like keeping your travel mug with your keys, just like super simple things. And then that was it. The other one I can keep for later. And we only have 9 minutes, Mahlu, before our first presentation. So how about I look, see if they're in the attendance and see if they're ready to present. Okay. Did anybody have any questions while I'm doing that?
No questions. We just wanted to say well done, you two. You guys are really accomplishing a lot. That's awesome.
We do have one question, Shannon.
I have a question. Also, I should echo Sue's comment that this is amazing. It's so cool to hear everything. And Vanessa, thanks for walking us through the stats. It's really neat to hear the impact that the SLRD's solid waste, the social media has. I did have a question about the AWARE program. I just was wondering, did the SLRD end up increasing their targets or changing the targets for the contract for this new school year?
They haven't been changed yet.
Great.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
it is in 2 sections, so we could kind of revise for the second section. They usually go until December, and then they do another section.
Great. Thank you.
Welcome.
Vanessa, are they in the
Hello, is it McKaylee? Yes, you're on mute.
Close.
How
Close.
do you pronounce your name?
Mikhail, like
Mikhail.
Gorbachev. It's
Well,
usually how I give people.
well, welcome. Sorry I had to pull you in like that. It's the not seamlessness of Zoom, but we were wondering if you were ready to present now.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
am ready to go.
Take it away. Introduce yourself and take it away.
Okay, just give me 1 second here. Oh, is there any chance I can share screen?
Yeah, 1 second.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Try that.
Looks good. Great. Excellent. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen here? It says closing the loop at the Whistler Public Library.
We can.
Excellent. All right. Okay. So just before I begin, I wanted to say thank you so much for the invitation to present to you all today. I've never had the chance to talk to the SLRD Solid Waste Group, so this is very exciting, and I really appreciate, even just in the invitation, the recognition that the work that libraries do in helping to promote sustainable practices in the Sea to Sky corridor. So thank you so much, and it's nice to see my colleague Andrew here. Hi, Andrew. So given that I have the strange honor of going first of the libraries who are going to present, I just thought I would, start by, let me just make sure I've got this. There we go. Talking a little bit about how generally libraries play a significant role in supporting solid waste management. And by that, there are lots of different initiatives that all public libraries, uniquely handle. And so I'll talk a little bit about what we do specifically at the Worcester Public Library. But in general, we provide support in educating the community through workshops and lectures. We host events on topics like composting, recycling, upcycling, waste reduction. We offer shared resources, so books, ebooks on environmental topics and sustainable practices. Beyond books, we lend many different tools, seeds, clothing, toys, kitchenware, all reducing the need for individual purchases. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. We host events like repair cafes where folks can bring in broken items by extending product lifespans and reducing waste. We encourage sustainable lifestyles via our partnerships and programming. We often serve as drop-off points for items like batteries, electronics, textiles that might require special recycling purposes. We accept book and media donations, so discarded or donated materials are made available for reuse through our book sales or through swaps instead of being thrown away. Here at the library, we have a free cart in our lobby, which is very, very popular from our community members. And then, of course, we model sustainable practices. So I'm joining you today. I don't know if everyone on the call has ever had the chance to visit our library. The Whistler Public Library is located just in the heart of the Whistler Village, just off the village stroll on Main Street. And our building was one of the first LEED certified government buildings ever created in Canada. So everything from the construction of our building to our operations. So we have, we adopt waste reducing practices like eliminating single-use plastics. I'm just coming from a staff event where we were hosting a celebration for a staff person who's just left, and the level of attention to detail in the types of containers being used, the plates, the reduction in plastic, and the number of staff who are choosing sustainable practices like cooking vegan and so on whenever we get together is really strong. And then, of course, we reduce physical waste by promoting digital borrowing of music, books, and movies. So with that in mind, to focus on the Whistler Public Library in terms of our library collection, I've got a little stat here pulled from our 2023 annual report. Every year, we add in approximately around 4,000 physical items into our collection. Last year, we had 12,000 audiobooks borrowed and nearly 18,000 picture books borrowed. And this does not include our unusual item collection. Our unusual item collection is quite, many libraries have library of things or like item libraries. I know that our colleagues in Squamish will talk about that. Our unusual item collection is essentially intended to be a list of a tryout opportunity for folks to be able to test whether it's new materials or gear or what have you that they may want to incorporate into their homes without needing to personally own it. As you know, many people in Whistler live in densified housing. Storage is a challenge. Portability is a challenge. So by offering access to these shared resources, we reduce the dependency on individual ownership. In particular, our sewing machines have been very, very popular, and we've continued to grow and add to that collection. I'm just going to see if this will work here. I was going to pull you through the unusual item collection. Just give me one moment. So if you go to our website and go to browse, at the bottom here, you'll see the unusual item collection option. And this gives you the menu of all the different options of items that we include. Everything from sewing machines to municipal counselors. You can connect with a municipal counselor through our unusual item collection. We also offer passes to the Britannia Mine Museum and to the Squamish-Lillooet Cultural Center, and then into some more kind of traditional library of things items. We have rock tumbler kits, starter kits, seed library, bat detector, Yoto player, telescopes, ukuleles, board games, puzzles, kobos, a whole plethora of technology kits to help children and families and people of all ages really to adapt STEAM technologies, so to learn programming and coding skills. These are really popular among families in Whistler. Discovery kits, microscopes, binoculars, I could go on and on. So I really do encourage you to take a look. I think you might be surprised by what you might find there. And then we also have our Wonder Lab. Our Wonder Lab is a digital technology learning lab that is designed to provide access to all community members to state-of-the-art technologies used for all kinds of creation. So we have a sound booth, green screen, filmmaking kit, a digitization station where you can digitize your VHS or film photographs, as well as the technology kits that I mentioned before. In terms of recycling and reuse, one of our priorities at the library is also kind of that really nuts and bolts around waste management. We offer repair cafes. We just had our last one of the year a few weeks ago in partnership with Aware, as well as Whistler's solid waste management team. And it was really interesting. We accidentally scheduled it for opening day up at the mountain, which, as you can imagine, had a slight impact on our attendance, but not as much as you might think. And I would say that 80% of the items brought in for repair were all ski gear, clothing, out like both apparel as well as skis and snowboards and so on. And really just speaks to the needs of our community. And again, those represent items that don't end up in a landfill and instead are being repurposed and finding a new life. We model waste reduction options. Again, so this is just a little photo of one of our waste centers in the library. I know that when I'm told that when Whistler unveiled this campaign, we were kind of instrumental in helping to get community awareness around the new options in terms of recycling. We had the waste dinosaur in the library, apparently, that had been put together by our teams at the RMOW. We also host bike repair workshops, again, in partnership with our RMOW colleagues. And then we have a whole plethora of sustainability-focused programming, from nature walks, speaker series, partnered events, and so on and so forth, all around that developing a stronger appreciation of the natural world as a means to increase education and awareness around climate change. I'll stop there just in the interest of time and knowing that you have lots of other librarians to hear from today. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. And if there's any questions, I can answer questions at this time. I'll just stop there.
I was thinking that we would pull in all the libraries at this time, just giving you a warning that we're going to pull you on the side where everybody can see you so that if you do have questions, that you are able to do so.
Interesting, and it's really great to see how much work all libraries within the SRD are doing. So thanks again.
All right.
Thank you.
Hillary, Emma, and Toby, you are now in the main room if you have any questions. Perfect. And apologies. Thank you so much for all being here. I didn't give you guys a proper introduction, but thank you so much. We acknowledge that the libraries do a lot of work across the region. So again, thank you so much for being here today. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, thank you again for presenting. And Ahmad, were you ready to take over the floor? All right.
Yeah, if you can give me screen sharing as well, that would be great.
It should work. Do you want to give it a try?
Let's give it a go. Oh. This is where I have the technical difficulties. Okay. Okay, can everybody see that? Excellent. Thank you for inviting me here today. I'll echo what Mikhail said. It's so nice to be able to come and chat to you today. Thank you, Mikhail, for the wonderful summary. I will probably cover a little bit of similar, but I'll try and keep it brief. My name's Emma Gillis. I'm the library director at the Pemberton District Public Library, and I'm here today to talk about some of the things that the library's been doing in 2024 to support with community waste reduction. So when Vanessa first approached me about the idea, I was like, oh, that's great. I haven't actually really, we do so much, as Mikhail has already demonstrated. So it's really great to take a step back and think what we're doing very specifically from a waste reduction lens. What I'm going to present is a couple of things we've been doing for quite some time. They've just become part of our core services, but we've added some new features in this year as well, which we're really pleased about. One of our very first foundational pieces was the partnership with Stewardship Pemberton and the Pemberton Seed Library. This has been in operation for several years, and it's been a fantastic partnership and a fantastic service to offer the community, just in terms of food sustainability, and being able to offer workshops and attend farmers markets and really help share information about how to grow your own food, how to remain sustainable, and also the return of the seeds as well. So that's been going on for years now, and it's really continuing to grow, and it's become something that people actively seek out. So we're really happy to have that here. Just like Mikhail showed earlier on, we also have a really great list on our website of what we call our library of things. Or as we've commonly called it, I didn't know the library had that, because although it is quite a popular thing now for libraries, many people just don't expect to see some of the things on the shelves that we offer. We started off actually very small with a donation from the Pemberton Multicultural Network of 3 pieces of kitchen equipment, and that is how our Library of Things was born. They had nowhere to store it, and they asked if we could take it and add it to our collection and make it available to them when they had programs to run, and that is where it started. These 3 original items are probably our highest circulated items in the Library of Things still to this day, and I think we're going to have to replace them soon. They're in demand with wait lists. We've even added an Instant Pot this year, and really we find that these are really fantastic pieces to have because they take up a lot of room. People don't have a lot of storage space, and it's something you only use at certain times of the year. So this is something that somebody can just access once a year. They don't need to have one sitting at home, and many, many people will get to use this. And as Mikhail's mentioned, that's just reducing the amount of consumer items people have to have in their homes. We are looking at other things to add in terms of kitchen equipment. We've had requests for bread makers and other things, but storage is our biggest challenge at the moment, so we're trying to navigate that. Things that we've added this year are the sewing machine. We've learned from the successes with Whistler and Squamish Library that these are incredibly popular items, so we're about to embark on that. We also have a wide selection of games, puzzles, DVD players, ukuleles, Yoto players, the cricket machine. We're constantly adding new things based on what people are asking for, and all things that are just going to help people make life more affordable and more sustainable. One new initiative this year, which actually Vanessa and I had a chat about, we hosted our first toy swap, which is part of our Baby and Me group. Sadly, it didn't gather the attention that we had hoped, but we'll definitely be trying it again. There was interest, but I think it just was maybe a little bit too close for Christmas for people. And the idea behind this was that parents could bring a bag of gently used or new items for babies aged 0 to 12, so they could do an exchange before Christmas for baby's first Christmas. We only had a couple of people, but all things start small. So we're very optimistic that this will become a future regular initiative. Being located inside the community centre in Pemberton, we know recently there was a clothing swap that was hugely successful. So we're very encouraged that this might be a future thing that we can continue to do. Other things that the library does, we regularly partner with Vanessa at the SLRD to promote Food Waste Action Week. In addition to the reading lists that we produce and the book displays, this year we had a really fun interactive food game that Vanessa created for the Children's Library. That was a really great interactive opportunity for kids and their families to come in and look at different ways of storing food and food sustainability. And one other thing that's grown this year, we've added another Little Free Library location. So we've got 5 Little Free Libraries throughout Pemberton and Area C. These are incredibly popular and a really great way for people to repurpose their books. As we know, recycling books is a real challenge in the Sea to Sky. And we're generally, as Mikhail's mentioned, people like to donate their books. Everybody wants to see their books go to a good home. We don't have the capacity to take in all the book donations. So these Little Free Libraries really help the community to pass their books on and enjoy another home without them having to go into landfill. We are hoping to add more Little Free Libraries to the area over the next year or two, and it's all in partnership with the local men's shed. They design and build and install the Little Free Libraries. So those are just some of the initiatives that we've been doing in 2024. As we move into 2025, it's been a great opportunity for us to look at things that we could be doing better in the coming years. Certainly we do focus internally a lot on reducing paper waste, but we'll definitely be looking at other ways to reduce other waste within the workplace. We'll look at ways to increase community access that provide resources to support sustainability and reduce waste, whether that's access to library materials, increasing our library of things. One of the heaviest used resources we offer is printing, copying, and scanning services, which reduces the need for people to have printers and expensive print cartridges at home. And then also offering more information sessions and programs. And also continuing to collaborate with the lovely fellow directors in the Sea to Sky Libraries. We've been doing some really great resource sharing initiatives this year, and we definitely will be looking to expand that and expand our collections across the Sea to Sky corridor in the coming year. So in summary, thank you very much for inviting me. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, happy to take them now, or you can reach out to me by my email, or you can also contact us through our website. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma, and thank you for the accolades. I think it's always great working with our libraries. They're definitely my favorite place, so thank you so much. I do have a question for Misha. She's actually here, but she's just not feeling well, so she's staying on the not visible side of things. And she wants to know if you could share the locations of the little libraries.
Absolutely. We have one at the downtown barn, which is actually a replica of the barn. It's my favorite. We have one at the Lions Villas, which is our newest one. We have one at 1 Mile Lake, just down near the boat launch. There is one at Chipun Market in New Site and one at Gates Lake Park. And we're looking at ways to further expand them into the more remote locations so that they can be more self-sustainable. At the moment, the concept behind them is bring one, take one, but generally we find it's take one and leave none. So we have to restock them with discarded library materials or donations that have been made to the library. So definitely the likes of Gates Lake, which is not as accessible for us to refill, we really rely on the community filling that up for us or letting us know, and then using volunteers to go and restock them.
Thank you so much, Shannon. This is great. I'm super happy to hear all about what you guys are doing and how we can collaborate and work more together. moving forward. This is like, yeah, I think people don't realize how much work you do for solid waste and reducing waste. So this is awesome. Shannon.
Thank you. This is I echo Mary Lou's comments and Vanessa's. This is wonderful to hear all the initiatives that everyone's doing. I did have a question. Does the Pemberton Library host the like do you host the little libraries or like and are all the locations listed on your website or is it really like you get it up set up and then you kind of give it to the community to like take care of?
The original idea was we would set them up and they're there kind of self-sufficient, but we pretty much oversee them. We know where they all are, and there's a sticker on them saying if they're damaged or need refilled, contact the library. And then we've actually just had one had repairs to it, and then we just reach out to the men's shed, and they donate their time to go and fix it up. Because it was a passion project for them as well. They put
Yeah.
a lot of time and effort into their design. And so it's nice for them to go out and take care of them. And they've been in place now for several years and they've held up really well. And what's great about them is that they, they're not just well used by the community members, but when we get visitors over the summer, it's another nice little thing to find in sort of unexpected places. So, yeah, at the moment we've got 5. We're kind of managing them all, but we would love to have some that we just give out into the community and they kind of take care of themselves. That would be great.
Yeah. I wanted to mention something. So we in Squamish, so I'm with the District of Squamish. Um, we have, and I'm disappointed to hear about the not as big uptake in your kid swap.
Yeah.
But we run ours, we do it kids clothing, toy, and book. And I don't know, it looked like yours was mainly focused on toys. And I would say having all 3 really has been really successful for us. And so anyway, I would just encourage you to maybe expand the scope, even if space is a constraint. And then what we were able to do is we took the leftover kid books and I would drove around all our little libraries and threw them and put them in there. But then we like those have been filling up we've been able to distribute those in our community as well, which is great. So yeah, I would really recommend yeah, broadening the scope if you can.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Shannon from Squamish Can is mentioning in the chat that there's like hundreds of people attending the kids' toys and book swap. And while Shannon mentioned that, I actually took a note to let you know that that's what they were doing in Squamish. So it's great that Shannon mentioned it and it's been a good success. And we can definitely be like supporting you guys for that, like the best way we can. I raised my hand because I do have one question. And it's more like on the bummer side of things, and I'm so sorry. Have you seen any like misuse or like people leaving other stuff by those like little library, or is it really well used and the main problem is kind of like keeping them well stocked?
We've been pretty fortunate. They've been pretty well looked after. The damage that the ones we've just had repaired was mostly just wear and tear and heavy use. The biggest thing we probably had was when they were full, people would just leave their boxes of books anyway rather than taking them away. So then we would have to go and take the box. Otherwise, it was going to become Village of Pemberton's issue to have to manage. So that was more of a communication thing. We really haven't seen much more. People use it as a lost and found sometimes as well. So, but no, we've been very fortunate. I think the locations they're in have lended themselves to not really seeing any vandalism and misuse. They've been really a positive thing in the community. So they're great to have.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to know that like residents are using it well, and we always hope for that, right? When we put like new projects in place, a new pilot, and This is always like the main goal, so we can keep expanding on it. So this is great.
Yeah, and it's nice for us as well because books can't be recycled in the area. Although we have like Whistler, we have a cart outside as well that people can take from. It's really nice for us to be able to say, okay, we can't accept your donations, but here's multiple places where you can put them that they'll go back out into the community and somebody else can enjoy these items.
Thank you. Anyone else? Is there any more questions or comments or? I see none. So thank you. Thank you again so much. So, to Toby. Ah, there you go. Sorry, I was I was trying to find you on the screen. Um, so if you want to update us on Lillooet Library Association. And if you want, like, please present yourself as well, introduce yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Toby Mueller. I'm the library director for the Lillooet Area Library Association. We have 3 branches, one in Lillooet, one in Goldbridge, and one in Shalaf. But we're also one of the smallest library systems in the province, actually. But anyway, I do want to thank you for inviting us, and I appreciate the recognition that libraries are very much all about waste reduction. It's kind of a core part of being a library. It's the whole point is like not everyone has to buy that thing, and it starts for us with our policy. I'm just going to take you around our website. I did not have time to make a presentation, but we do have a sustainability policy, and you can go visit our website and read it. It was passed in June of 2022, and it really was like, oh my goodness, we had just been through like so much climate chaos. And the board was really like, we want to be a force for change in our community around these issues. So this is our cheeky little sustainability policy. It's like, put a sweater on, wear a tank top. Lala will maintain thermostats at a level to reduce heating and cooling costs. And, we communicate with our vendors. We try and buy things locally. I try to forbid people from bringing their single-use stuff into the, like, I'm like, can you just get a coffee cup? I buy them for staff and things. Anyway, we have a no glitter policy. No glitter in any library programs because it's just contributing to microplastic pollution. And it's been a hard pill for some people to swallow, but I'm pretty adamant about it. And then we also have a library of things. And oh, why aren't you going there? There we go. All sorts of stuff very similar to the other libraries. One thing that we got that was very specifically a waste reduction item is these dish sets. And I live in a small, tight-knit community outside of Lillooet, and we have a big set of dishes, like so that when we have our parties, we're not, we have dishes for it. And after several times of people in Lillooet asking me to borrow that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this for our library of things. And so we have basically 36 place settings. And this is one of our more popular items in this collection. It's been used actually quite a bit by like other community groups who, when they're doing events and stuff, they can avoid all the paper and stuff. So that's been nice, and we use it for our own events and everything. And we also sort of enabled the rec center where we lease in Lillooet to get their kitchen together. And so now there's like all this stuff, and I keep telling somebody to fix this picture problem. But we got a pressure canner last year, and that has also been a really popular item. Again, it's a very expensive thing. A lot of people in our community like to can like fish and meat and stuff. And so, this is a really high cost item that's really actually hard to destroy. So people have been, taking it home and putting food by with that. We also, we do all sorts of programming and share ideas in the community on many different topics related to all of this. And the final thing I wanted to just mention is, like, in Lillooet, we've had this tradition of having like a used book sale twice a year. And it's like a huge community event. Everybody loves it. And we just and we usually take donations for that. And over the past, like, since the pandemic, like, we just get so many donations. No one buys anything. And it's just like we're left with this, like, can you take that away from me? We're left with this pile of stuff to deal with. And so we're gonna try something new this year and have a big book swap. And then we got a guillotine, and we're gonna, like, when it's over and people have got their books, we're gonna have a huge recycling thing, and we're gonna take them books down and have it as like a community waste reduction event, and have the community actually really see that when they dump books on us, this is what we have to do with them. Like, we can't just find a good home for every book that comes our way. This is the reality. And so I'm hoping that might actually encourage people to use the library more and stop buying things all the time. So that's going to be I think that's it. Yeah. Okay, I'm done.
Well,
and I did want to say, if you have any questions, like, just reach out to me anytime. Yeah.
this is awesome. I'm really happy to see that. I'm happy to see that people are really liking it and using it. And we were supposed to have a presentation about Big Brother bin initiatives.
Hold on,
We're gonna
Mahalu.
have it.
Sorry, Squamish still needs to go.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just wrapping around. But what they do is they accept used textile, clothing, and books. So at some point, if you were like, we can work together and try to see if I can bring them down to them from Lillooet, all those books, instead of going to the recycling and be reused again through the Big Brother. Like, I come up to Lillooet once in a while, so for me, filling the back of the regional district car with books and bring it them to Big Brother. Like, if we can, like, it's a little bit out of the box, but that's how we have to do things in a little bit smaller areas and rural communities where those programs are not going. I know they don't go to Lillooet. We ask them, but please get in touch with us, and we'll see how we can support you guys with that. And having said that, I'll leave it to other people to ask questions or provide comments if they have any.
I have a bit of a scary question. I'm kind of afraid to ask it, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What happens to the books? So Toby was saying they're going to guillotine the books and then recycle the paper. That's a good option. So what is everybody else doing with the books that they can't donate?
I'll answer that first. So we have a sort of a contract with Better World Books, and we run through, and they're a social enterprise that sell used books. So they take a certain amount from off our hands, and then we go through, and the paperbacks can be recycled. That's what they told me at the SLRD landfill here in Lillooet. So the paperbacks go to the recycling and the hardbacks go in the dump. And so with the guillotine now, we'll be able to take the paper out of the hardbacks. Yeah.
We've actually been pretty lucky that the only things I'm really having to throw out now are things that are badly damaged. With our little free libraries and the carts that we have out the front, we can generally rehome most of the stuff, or at least get it back out there without having to throw it out. We also have an annual Friends of the Library book sale, which I think most of us have. And so we stick it all in storage until the book sale and then try. But I know the Friends of the Library have a lot of challenges with what to do with the books that are left over after the book sale. They kind of roll over to the following year and then the following year until they've been in storage for so long that they're moldy. So yeah, for us, the stuff that we get as donations or the stuff that we're removing from the collection, we've been pretty lucky so far that it's enough that we can fill up the little free libraries. I've been donating boxes of books to the schools in the Lower Lakes communities because their schools don't necessarily have school libraries. So we were able to clear out a lot of the children's library materials to Tupela and Skatine and Blackwater as well, I think, took a box of books. So we try to rehome a lot of the stuff where possible, but there are some things just unfortunately are beyond rehoming or recycling.
Lou, you have your hand up. Is it in conjunction with this? Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of books at the Reuse It, and we have a limited amount of space. So we run into some of these issues as well. We have a couple of fringe projects that we work on. There's some people that are collecting children's books for the Ukraine, as they're trying to get an English language program going in the Ukraine while the war is going on, so that they can join the UN. So we partner with them. We partner with some other people who send them to other schools in other areas, lower income. Couple of families that take them to Nicaragua to some schools. And then we have some other people who work with some bookstores down in Vancouver that accept used books. And then interestingly, there's been this recent development and that local people have cottoned on to some Amazon book buy back program that runs where they're actually making money off of it. And we've seen a huge turnover in our book department because of this. I generally am not a huge Amazon fan. But in this instance, people have been coming in and they've been buying lots of books. They download some scanning thing and they scan the books and find out which one's worth money, and they buy them and they have a reselling program. Aside from that, when they're older books, older textbooks, especially things like that, it gets much harder. And if we can't recycle them, they have to go in the landfill. But we have had quite a good turnover since this Amazon program started. So in the quieter months, we would be able to take extra donations if people had them. Potentially. Right now, we can't. But you're welcome to call and see, and we can connect with some of these community members that are buying back the books, and see if we can create some more recycling that way.
Perfect. And yeah, that's why I was asking the hard question, is not to put anybody on the spot, but sometimes when we put our minds together and we know that it's difficult, then we can kind of come up with a solution. Like Shannon said, in Penticton, there's a business, I think it's one gentleman, he just guillotines the spines off the books because that's the problem, is that they're bound, right? They're not loose papers, and so that's why they can't be in the recycling system. So all the libraries kind of contract this gentleman, and so does the regional district. So hey, Sue, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to have us consider too in the future, perhaps, well, it could be any time, but certainly in the future plan, perhaps we're advocating to the province to include books in the extended producer responsibility program, because one of the reasons that technically the books can't go in recycling, aside from the hardcovers, is the fact that the producers of books are not regulated and they're not paying into the program. And that's why Recycle BC won't take anything that's not part of their program in the recycling centers. And so, yeah, I think I really like all of the reuse systems that everybody's doing. And yeah, sort of pirate recycling, but we should really just be getting the province to make it part of a program so that we don't have to go to those lengths to actually be able to recycle something that's relatively easily recyclable.
I think I'm going to steal that term, pirate recycling. It's a good one, Sue. Yes, I second that. We have been advocating through some of the consultation, specifically through Recycle BC. I think that's the one that I can recall off the top of my head. We had asked them that they should include books, whether or not that's going to be something that's going to come through this program. Well, don't think so, but yeah, I agree. We're going to keep advocating to the province that this is something that they should take on. Does anyone else have any questions? Hillary, you're up.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to share my screen here. One second. Sorry, it's been a while. Okay. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see the slide deck. So good afternoon, my name's Hillary Bloom, and I'm the Director of Library Services at the Squamish Public Library. I'm going to flag right away that I am pinch hitting right now. As you can see on the first slide, Rachel and Raya were planning to do this presentation, two staff members. There's some illness and very lean staffing. So I said, sure, I can talk about this, but I can't really get credit for certainly can't get credit for assembling the slides. A lot of what is covered in this deck has been spoken about already through my colleagues. So anyway, I'm really happy that we could be participating in this, and I'm just going to run us through our deck. So yeah, this presentation was more specific to our Library of Things in particular, but at the end I will just mention a couple of other initiatives that, as I've been listening, I wanted to share out. And you can see there's Rachel and Raya, my keener, two of my keener staff members. So, but originally this presentation was put together as part of a Solid Waste Association of North America Pacific Chapter conference. So Raya and Rachel were invited by Shannon White from the District of Squamish here on the call to present about our Library of Things. So I'm just adapting, or this is an adaptation of that. And so some of this is not really news to any of you, but just as far as what Squamish is like, one of the fastest growing communities in Canada, housing is expensive, storage can be challenging, a very young community, and we are a municipal library with really strong connections to our municipality, the District of Squamish. And I wanted to really highlight that because I feel like especially in recent years, some of the things that we have grappled with over time through closer and closer alignment with the initiatives of the municipality and great brains out there like Shannon and her team, I feel like we've kind of come to alleviate some pain points and come up with creative ways to do things together or offset the burden so that it's not all just on one agency's shoulders. So Library of Things, we have one as well. And same sort of concept about why we got it started. I just have the notes here. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure I'm doing this justice. Yeah, so this all came to be in 2023. So we launched it in the fall of 2023. And so it's been going for just over a year, our collection. Prior to that, we did have a few one-off items, like we lent out passes to the Mine Museum and Cultural Center and things like that. But we went full on last fall. And so we had these goals, so reducing waste, increasing access, and supporting literacy as well, because in many cases, it's also like looking outside of the traditional sort of library concept of what literacy is. And anyway, same general goals as you've already heard. Bad libraries build collections, good libraries build services, and great libraries build communities. I love that quote because as was sort of mentioned already as well, like I'm really glad to have this chance to share because I don't think we toot our own horns enough. Libraries are doing crazy, amazing things a lot of the time that contribute so directly to priorities and initiatives that are important to their communities and to their regions. So I'm happy to just kind of make sure we're emphasizing that to this committee today. there's our project timeline. So we did our research, we had budget, we received the things through the summer, and then we did our launch in the fall of last year. As I mentioned, it was a big to do because we had never really circulated these before. So we had to think about loan policies, we had to think about waivers for getting people to sign, we had to think about wear and tear, we had to think about processing and cataloging these items because you can't just lend them out. There's all these bits and pieces, and it was a lot of thought that went into it. But that legwork helped so that we now have a really slick system going. So lots of interesting things, just I guess more just as an FYI for you. So we did a survey at first to find out what people wanted or what were especially interested in. So similarly, you can see some of the top types of themes. They didn't want there to be any cost. And I mean, anything that we offer through the library is always does not involve a cost. Yeah, so similar feedback. This was all just helping us to verify that we were using our time wisely to make a point of investing in this. And the interested people love the idea of being able to donate their stuff to us, which is a whole other kettle of fish, kind of like the whole book loan or book donation problem that we have. Anyway, and then tying it into programming. So, with some of these items, could we then offer, in-person programming, public programming to teach people or get to use them and whatnot. So there was staff buy-in that we had to get. There was District of Squamish buy-in and partnership, and then some distinct branding. And this picture here, this is our mayor, Armand Herford. And so he helped participate in a really fun little video to promote it, where that little roving robot wheeled an invitation to our launch into his office. And he participated in our video, encouraging people to come to our big kickoff event. He's a good sport. Okay, this was probably the highlight of my career so far. I got to use giant scissors and be the ribbon cutter for our opening of our event last year. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to use those scissors again. But yeah, so we had a big kind of launch party where people could explore and learn about all the things we had at the time. And you'll notice we have this pegboard as part of it, and it's kind of cool because the pegs can be moved all around and the shelves can be moved all around. So depending on what's available and how much space we need to store and display, we can actually modify it all the time. A lot of things are out a lot of the time, and we depend on that because there's no way we could possibly house it all in our building in a very easy way. As far as the collection, so yeah, I love hearing about everybody's collections, and there's certain ones that are somewhat, common throughout, and then others that are unique to the community that it serves. So we have, I think, 4 sewing machines now. One is like an industrial one, many telescopes. We've added to things over time. Lots of food-based, similar to other places. We have a ski wax iron, which is kind of fun. Recent additions include, we actually have now we have a kit that people can borrow that's for like a cleanup litter day. So it's like with the garbage pickers and the high-vis vests and the bin. And so, kind of encouraging some sustainability and taking care of our environment with that. We have a projector, an outdoor movie screen. That's been really popular to borrow. We have a dog agility kit if you want to train your dog in doing fancy things. Anyway, lots and lots, and there's a QR code, and you can see through our website the various things that we have. And then over time, like I said, we've been adding duplicates of things because we have a large population and lots of use and uptake and a long wait list. So we're just trying our best to meet that. So these are some of the lessons learned that we came away with, getting internal buy-in, being clear about donations. So we don't, as a general rule, accept donations to the Library of Things, but at times we put out a call if we are looking for particular items, and we'll be very specific about what we're looking for, because we just have to manage that. Otherwise, we would become, a different type of agency, which that's not what we're in the business of. And acquiring anything to make available to the public has a cost. It's not like you just put it on a shelf. There, like I said, there's all this back end stuff that needs to happen. So it needs to be a worthwhile transaction for us to do it. Otherwise, purchasing, because we have budget to buy things, then you know it's new and it's, all the pieces are there and whatnot. But in the spirit of minimizing waste and a circular economy, of course, we would like to try to just also make use of items that are out there that are perfectly good to add to the collection. Yes, so as of November of this year, so from September 23 to November 24, we now have 61 different things, but we have 89 unique items, so because we have duplicates of some. And in that time, we've had 1,207 circulations of items. So that's a substantial amount. And those items typically go out for 2 weeks at a time. There's a few exceptions to that, but that's just a little snapshot there. And yes, we still like sharing things. So that's great. That's what we're in the business of. And of course, because libraries are already set up with catalogs and whatever, it's a natural tie-in to have things like other objects that we can help the community to be able to access. There's Raya and Rachel's emails. They are definitely the experts to answer any of the nitty-gritty questions, but I will just add on at the end here that, as I mentioned about working closely with the District of Squamish, it's really been wonderful to have their support and keenness, not just about our Library of Things, but in other ways as well. Here, I'm going to stop sharing. And so even in the sense of, like, Shannon and I put our heads together to figure out about better ways to make sure the community has good outlets for repurposing their books or like moving them along, educating the community about that, and cross-promoting. So events that we're having, the district will definitely be putting it out there, and vice versa, because now the district has taken on, some large, well, it's not all new, but in recent years, it's been a real focus more on larger scale adult clothing and book swaps, children's gear and toys. And so we don't necessarily have to be the ones to solve it for our community, because it's more than just that. Or if there's a partnership, because space is always a challenge, and our library is not enormous, but the rec center might have more room, or whatever it might be for an event. We've also had really long time connections and partnership with Squamish Can. So the seed library we've had in place for a long time, as well as lots of workshops that they offer through held at our library, has been wonderful. And then we also, speaking of the Big Brothers donation bins, so we've been involved in that in Squamish with the sustainability group. So that just outside the library is one of the locations of a set of those bins. So one is for books and one is for textiles. There's challenges around it because they get a little overfull, and we have to remind Big Brothers to come and service them. But overall, I know they're very well received, and that is a nice sort of next step of life move for us. And even at the end of our book sales, we now schedule Big Brothers to come and take all the books. Some of them do get redistributed to other Little Free libraries, or sometimes to the rec center for a while, or there's various ways that things can continue, but it's a challenge. It's and we do have some other places in town. We have a secondhand book. We have several secondhand bookstores now, and we have one that is a nonprofit. That all the proceeds go to literacy initiatives in town. So we encourage people to distribute them that way as well. But even there, just people have so much stuff, and they get a little disappointed when you don't want their encyclopedias from 1967, and you have to explain why that would be not a useful thing to add to our small building. Other than that, I just wanted to add that we have other exciting things that we're exploring. So one of those is not so much solid waste, but it's kind of all related. So Area D, we service Area D as our part of our service area for our library. And so we've been exploring some opportunities, perhaps in Britannia Beach to start with, given the exponential growth of that community, to have a remote holds pickup locker set up there so that community residents could have the option of picking up their holds within Britannia, as opposed to coming into the Squamish to the library. So again, just cutting down more on unnecessary transportation. But anyway, we're trying to figure out a few things there. And I also just wanted to put one more plug in for the Sea to Sky libraries. I think we need to get in front of what other committee we need to be in front of, ladies, to talk about the resource sharing that goes on. That's been a completely homegrown initiative that we've invented between us, so that essentially the three Whistler, Pemberton, Squamish libraries are acting like single branches of the same system, and we're getting materials through to each other's users in a much more timely manner than we would if we had to do it through the larger provincial sharing. We do both, but we have this little really efficient extra system. And I think that the SLRD would be a really great, I mean, it's all of you and it's all of this region. That's something we all have in common. And I think that we could probably benefit from figuring out ways to get additional support from the regional district to amplify some of those initiatives and make it even more effective, that we can, improve the borrowing experience for all of our users. I think I covered it. I hope I did a service to that nice presentation Raya put together. I'm happy to answer some questions.
Thank you so much. It's yeah, I'm going to repeat myself. It's great to hear about all of you guys. It's great to hear that you all work together to make it more efficient. I think it's what we see at different levels, like everyone trying to work together. That's what we try to do in the solid waste. And but I'm gonna leave the questions to the two, and then I will come back and maybe get back to you around that specific comments that you made. So Sue, you have.
Sure, thanks. It's super exciting to hear all the different things that the libraries are doing. And one of the agenda items that's coming up later is the SLRD will be updating its solid waste management plan in the future. And I was just thinking, because you're tapped into what's going on in different libraries as well, if there's certain things you would like to see in that plan, if there's supports that you think would be helpful, if there's areas that you see or would like to other libraries expanding to, or you would or areas that you would like to expand to as well, just kind of looking into the future there.
Thank you, Sue. We have a list of different things that I'm kind of like adding things there so I don't forget that we need to add to the solid waste management plan, and requesting, like, involving the library into the solid waste management plan update. It's a great way to make sure they have their say on it and they can bring their input and their challenges, and that can be addressed. Shannon.
Thank you. I just want to mention one other thing that Hillary's team is doing. They're doing so much. I think but I love this one in particular, is providing space for Hillary, your team coins it much better. Like people who want to sew, a place for people to come together. The library doesn't provide sewing machines per se for that event, but it's a place where people can come and use their equipment together, which I think is really nice, because so often so many people have a sewing machine, but they just don't want to do it, or they don't know how. And so I think that's also kind of a very unique event, and the library is like a great location for that to happen.
So bringing people together to work on their own projects, but not in isolation, and it kind of creates community, and they can spread out a little bit because we have a decent sized meeting space. And we did that for a while last winter, and then we've taken a break. But yeah, it's just, we're always up to try stuff. And I will say though, just also this reminded me, the challenge, I think I know Mikhail had to leave, but Emma will, and Toby will agree or no. Sometimes libraries struggle with our scope. Like, where does it end? And I think that we are almost a little too capable sometimes, and we like to try fun stuff. But it's like, so figuring out, and each community is unique. And so sometimes we're looking like, oh, there isn't anybody else that can fill this niche. So maybe the library. But I think it's also important for us to be looking outward to like, okay, who else could partner with us to make sure this is happening? And we can sometimes have the mechanisms or the systems in place to make it easy or to promote it or provide the space or whatever. But I think that's a challenge we all experience. Like when you were talking about the little free libraries, Emma, I'm like, oh God, no, I don't want to start taking that on because I get asked all the time. And I'm like, nope, that's a community initiative. You can build your own, you can service it, but like I cannot be driving around. I love that you do that. But yeah, so it's just like yeah, it's not a bad problem, but just flagging too that like sometimes yeah, who else is out there to help us? And clearly this is the type of opportunity to be raising that.
Um, Thanks, Hillary. That's a really good point. Scope is so important, Hillary. That's really key. The other thing I want to mention, and maybe this is about that resourcing thing you alluded to with Emma and Toby. I know Michaela's not here, but Mikhail. But I just want to flag that there's a solid waste conference coming up. So Hillary's team presented at like a conference day offered by SWANA, and it gets about 100 attendees, but there's another one that's coming up in April. And it gets about 300, 400 people, plus the province is there. And I just actually randomly picked up, I've got beside me, the deadline for abstracts is December 13th. And there is like they're looking for people to present on circular economy and reuse. So I don't know if any of the live. I do think like there is maybe space to continue and promote the library discussion in particular and highlight them. I'm not trying to put more work on anybody's plate. That is key, but I just think like this is a great forum, but then like to take it a step up and inspire other local governments around the province. There's lots of folks on this call who could do that. So happy to send that to Vanessa and she can share it out. And if anyone wants to, like Hillary, if you want to, I'm happy to support you. But like, I'm not, I don't want anyone to feel like they have to because I also know everyone has a lot on their plates. So I just want to share that I randomly have this call for presentations on my desk.
Thank you, Shannon. I kind of forgot about that one, so that's great to that you bring it up. Lou.
Yeah, just for the libraries, I had two questions. We do get books donated that are stamped with your library information. What is the best way for us to return those to your various facilities? Assuming they haven't been marked off and that you do want them back.
Great question. We normally get the stuff for the school here. If I can't speak on behalf of the other libraries, but for Pemberton, if the barcode has got Sharpie through it, if there's a big black Sharpie mark, it's been discarded and you repurpose that as you see fit. If it hasn't been barcoded, you could either just call us and let us know, or if anybody can drop it off at any library, like you can drop our stuff off at the Worcester Library, or the Squamish Library, or any library, and it'll make its way back to us.
Okay, so yeah, for obviously the local one for Whistler is a bit easier. But yeah, for you guys, if we can drop yours there too, that's easily done.
Which
Perfect.
is part of the sharing system that we have along the Sea to Sky. It comes up twice a week now for a trial period of 6 months, so it'll get back to us pretty quickly.
And the second question was, if you guys have wait lists for books that you know are going to be popular for like 3 months because somebody somewhere said something about it and it's gone viral, please do feel free to reach out to me because we do get very current donations of books. And if you'd like additional copies that you don't want to have to pay for because you know you're going to end up being stuck with 10 copies that you don't need down the road, please let me know and we'll try and find them for you.
That's actually a really good point, though. I never think of actually recommending to patrons checking the reuse it when they're on that big long wait list. So yeah, great one. Then you can get the money.
I have to go. My phone is like going off and all these people are trying to get my attention. So thank you very much for this opportunity. And yeah, I look forward to continuing this work. Have a great day.
Thank you
Thank you,
for
Toby.
being. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
So just if just going back to Hillary comment around SLRD, and so we can definitely like maybe it's a presentation that should happen from, even like if it's a presentation with like multiple libraries at the SLRD board meeting, we can definitely help you with that, find the best way for you to get the attention. And if you have like specific kind of like expectation from the SRD and the member municipalities, and kind of like how can we help, sometimes it's just finding like where can we help, how can we help, and what type of support is it, resources, is it financial, is it what kind of supports you need. But I'll be more than happy to get you on that like agenda and make sure that you have the space kind of like to be able to push that momentum, bring awareness. Like one example was more from a resident initiative, but there was like this chair that was created by students that was put at the Pemberton district of Pemberton and then at the SRD, and it's kind of like to bring awareness towards like all the decisions that are being made around those tables or affecting future generations. And so kids came, they went to the district of Pemberton, they came to the SRD to present that, and it made huge impact on all the elected officials and mayors of the SRD. And so I kind of just facilitate that so I can do for sure the same and support you through it. So just reach out to me when you have an idea, and then we can make sure that we get all the libraries together so you all have like an opportunities to bring your point to the board.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I was just gonna say it's sort of like one of these things, we kind of go, oh yeah, we should look into that. And then, we have so many levels of government that we're working within, and then each library's relationship to the SLRD is unique and the funding model is unique. And so we just haven't quite set aside the effort time to figure this out and navigate. So that's great, Marie Lou. I think if we can reach out to you and maybe you can help us figure out how what and to whom and in front of what and what we're asking for, that would be great. Thanks.
Perfect. So yeah, let's connect early 2025 and see how we can get it moving forward. And if we can just remove some barriers on the admin side of things, we'll do our best. So let me go back to the agenda. So we can take a break. It's 2:46 or well 2:47, so we can take a break until 3 p.m. and then we'll come back with I think Shannon would like to share a circular economy video, and I did put her a little bit like on a spot, asking a little bit of comments, not too much, a little bit of comments on the Big Brother book bin, as we talk so much around what to do when there's like so much books, or they're not we couldn't find a home for them, or so we'll come back at 3 p.m.
And directly at Emma and Hillary, did you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, or do you have to go?
I unfortunately have another
That makes
meeting.
sense. You as well.
Yeah, same with
Perfect.
me. Yeah,
Awesome.
thank you
Thank you
again so
so
much.
much.
Nice to
Thank you
meet
for
you all.
coming. And you have our emails now, so if you want to collaborate on small initiatives, anything, just shoot us an email.
Thanks
Brilliant.
again.
Thank
Have
you
a
so
nice
much,
day.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
That. So to provide a little bit of an update on the Big Brother books. So, as many of you are probably aware, a while ago, the bins, like donation bins, were deemed unsafe. There were some casualties and incidences in them a few years ago. So everybody pulled them all, Diabetes Canada, Big Brother, and then they re-engineered them essentially, and have put them back out into the market, if you want to call it that, into communities. But what they are struggling with is finding collection sites because, as Hillary alluded to, they become a bit of a dump site. So like the Canadian Tires and London Drugs, not sorry, I shouldn't, not necessarily those companies, but like bigger corporations who had them in their parking lots. Not all of them are bringing them back because they're like, well, now we don't have people dumping random stuff in our parking lot. So they've been finding it difficult to kind of come back to Squamish, and so um, I honestly would say this work initially started because um, we were getting high levels of contamination of books in our recycling bins, and we were getting um, reports back from Recycle BC saying, get the books out of your recycling bin. So we're like, okay, obviously people need a place to get rid of them. The library doesn't take them, as mentioned. Um, and we would like them to stay out of the landfill as much as possible. So let's see what we can do. So that spurred Laura to reach out again to Big Brother and say, okay, while you are not being very successful in finding private sites, maybe we can set up a few. And I should mention that we have both clothing and book ones at our landfill, but our landfill's not like a convenient site. Like I really don't want somebody who just has a bunch of old books to come to the landfill. The landfill's like, they have to wait in traffic. It's a bit confusing. Like it's not a really great site if you've just got like books, for example. And so Laura reached out, and so she reached out to Hillary from the library, and she also reached out to our recreation center in particular, as those were two sites that we own. We own or lease the property, and or we have control over the property, and could set up sites. And so it's interesting because Big Brother, from my understanding, makes their money, I think, mainly in textiles. So they just wanted to do textile bins. But we said no, if you're gonna be setting up on our property, we want both. We want books and textiles. And you can have, I think the library only has one of each because the space is limited. I think at Brennan Park we have two textiles. Our recreation center has two textile bins and one book bin because the books fill up slower than the textiles. And so I think Laura had actually pulled tonnage data because Big Brother will give that to you. We don't have it. I don't have that right now with me. They're pretty good to work with. We did reach out to Diabetes Canada as well, and at that time they didn't offer book collection, and we really wanted books were our goal. Textiles are nice to have. So we said no to Diabetes Canada and pursued it with Big Brother. And so and now since we've got our sites up and running, there are some other private ones that have come online. Like there's a couple like in different neighborhoods I've seen around behind like in Valley Cliff, there's one, for example, a neighborhood in town. And like there's a few more, which is great and alleviates the pressure on sites like the library because Hillary said they fill up very quickly, the textile bins, and Big Brother only has set one pickup per week right now. So it's a little bit tough to get them outside of that regular week pickup. But I would say overall it's been really successful. We launched it, we put a bunch of like social media out, advertising the locations, and they're well used, I would say. The other thing is that so I will update some stuff about events in the roundtable, but uh, as Hillary mentioned, we are also using Big Brother for pickup after our events for books and clothing, and toys and honestly, they'll take anything random. It's so interesting. So I would highly recommend they'll do pickups as well, on a large scale if your community does an event. Um, the other thing is like from my understanding as Big Brother, the material goes to like a grading facility and in downtown or somewhere in Lower Mainland, and what they do is they grade it like, the best quality stuff. The stuff that's pristine gets resold right away or goes into resale markets. Then like lower grade gets like they might do repairs like buttons or something. You can even put like a single shoe in their bins because they have such large quantities. they're like, we'll probably find a match, which is really interesting concept. And then they don't advertise it and they don't want us to advertise it, but they also take like lower grade, like ripped sheets and stuff because from my understanding is that they will shred it and turn it either into like insulation or like in boxing bags, or they also will like excuse me, but the bag of rags that like Triton or a car auto body shop might use, they turn them into that and resell there. So there's like a whole bunch of different values of the textiles that go in. So when someone calls us and they're like, "Oh, I have a ripped sheet," this is like something where we will direct them, even though it doesn't on the bins. It says like, they want the best quality stuff because that's where they make their most money as well. So what we did not explore is sometimes you see bins where like a local charity can get the money. That we did not explore. And also what we didn't to Hillary's point, like where is our scope and capacity and like authority? There is in the Comox Valley, the Rotary Club there has they've got an agreement with like the old hospital. They have a giant book sale, but they collect books all year round. And then they have throughout the communities, they have book bins that like the like equivalent of Men's Shed there has made. And so I really like that because then it's all staying, the books and the money stay in the community. They have a really hard time with unsellable books about getting rid of them. I think they go to landfill at this point in time, but I did try to get like a small thing like that up and running, like with book donation bins in town. Not with not with our library, but with like a couple of the secondhand stores in town, or like the nonprofit that's so the nonprofit in town, Newcomer Association, has a link to a secondhand bookstore that they have. So I was like, maybe we could set up some bins like that, but they're at capacity. So anyway, that's something that I would love to see happen, but to date is like a non-starter. So in my eyes and opinion, the Big Brother is providing a great service for a gap in our community. That right now there's no local solution like that. It's my update. Any questions?
Thank you, Shannon, because I know I kind of like put you on the spot. So just knowing that it's at the end of the day, it's still working great, and they're providing a good service for a gap in most of our communities. So that is really good to know. The SRD is working on that on our end, trying to get those bins. We haven't been able to move forward, but it's on my work plan for 2025, for sure. Yes.
The other thing I want to mention is like I feel like, especially because like Tom, you're like further, we're very close to Vancouver, right? So driving up from Metrovan isn't that far. And I mean, Vanessa as well. You guys are well, physically in other communities that are further away than Squamish. And so I can see an organization like Big Brother, similar to the tire stuff, right? The tire pickups, and being like, oh, it's so far away. But the nice thing about these ones is you can take, if you have space, you can take 8 bins, you know what I mean, or 10 bins, and they're covered, they're lidded, and and we just at our landfill we were just using like a little bobcat to like move them around. So when a bin was full, we'd tuck it in the back and add a new one to the front. And then it makes it worth their while to come up. So I think that's the other piece. I think I would just say is like I would be persistent if they're like too far away. Like, well, you could stop in Squamish, Whistler, and hit up all the other communities north of them. So
It's something that I know for Britannia Beach and Fur Creek. Why, like just finding a location, then we'll be able to get the service. I'm hoping at some point I'll be able to bring it to Pemberton area, and maybe Tom, when I look at that, we can discuss, because maybe we like together we can get enough materials. Where I did struggled in the past was for Divine Transfer Station. We have a reuse shed and we need to do cleanup. That most of it goes to landfill because we just don't have the capacity. It's not an enclosed environment, so it's kind of open to the environment. And while I think at the time was Canada Diabetes came on site, and for me, I had a huge load. For them, they were, I think, a little bit disappointed with the amount. But maybe if we have enough between all our smaller communities north of Whistler, they could come up and service us and provide more service for our residents. So I'll definitely be in touch with you, Tom, when I get there. So hopefully, between the all of us, we'll have enough for them to be willing to come away. And yeah, thanks, Shannon. This is great. Do we have questions? We do not. Okay. Shannon, let me. So Shannon, the video. Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it during the roundtable?
Yeah, no, I had just sort of knows what we're talking about. So I thought since maybe there were two updates missing, if you wanted, I apologize, I hadn't thought about this before, but the District of Squamish did a really cool program. We just had the final wrap up. It's like there's a video, and I thought I could just give a brief update on it, but happy to put it into my roundtable.
Happy to take it right now. Like,
It's a little bit
because
off the
we don't
cuff.
have time.
Vanessa, I'm sorry, I'm messing up the agenda.
That's okay. I love sharing.
Well, this is really cool. And I can take like very, very, very little credit for it. So Sue, who's on the call, was part of the so the District of Squamish, led by our economic development team. So Jen Stone, who's not here, and Halal Savaz, they led they're running circular economy from like an economic development perspective for the District of Squamish. And we got a grant, a rather large grant from the I wrote it down so I didn't forget it. Oh no, maybe I didn't. Rural Economic Diversification Infrastructure Program, which is for populations under 25,000. So we just squeaked in at that point. So it's a neat grant to keep an eye on. And so what we did is actually the use of the grant is much larger, and I can talk to maybe that at a different time. There's a whole bunch of different aspects of it. But what we did in 2024 is we contracted Whistler Center for Sustainability, and Sue was part of that team with Tamara Schulman, Rosemary Cooper, Claire Ruddy, Jean. Sorry, the whole crew at WCS, and and then we opened it up to the community. We had to say it's open to all businesses in Squamish, and they could join. So I don't know the exact number, and Sue, feel free to fill in the gaps, but about 10 to 15 businesses joined the program, and we ran a 3-part workshop series that was on it was on Introduction to Circular Economy, Concepts and Principles, Opportunities to Adopt Circular Practices for Organization and Implementation Strategies. And then, so there were those 3 workshops. We brought in some keynote speakers, like there was somebody from Renewal, the house moving company. There was someone from D Brand who does textile repurposing. And then a guy from, I can't remember the company, but he has basically looked at all the food that gets donated that can't be reused and turns into soups. So it's just about the circular, the intent was to find opportunities in businesses to create circularity, if that makes sense. And then we also offered through WCS one-on-one support for businesses who are part of the program. So those 10 to 15 businesses, or maybe it's up to 20 or 30, honestly, Sue can provide the detail. Sorry. They like could then sign up and be like, I want more coaching, I want more help. And then they would get like partnered with somebody from the consulting team. So that was highly successful. We had businesses come the whole way through. Oh, there we go. Sue will give some stats. 14 of it came into all the workshops, or most of the workshops, and participated. And then what we did is like a second part of this whole program was we had over $110,000, and we ran two different granting streams. So one we ran was called the Circular Innovation Challenge, and the pot of money to be awarded was $20,000 per organization, up to 3 organizations. So we had a pot of $60,000 for this one. And that one was, they really had to show like community partnership, that they were solving a community need. It was like, Shannon's mechanical appliances couldn't just win it. Like, it was like a very much like a community-based solution. And there was like a bunch of evaluation criteria. It was quite a comprehensive grant. Comprehensive. We tried to keep it very simple, to be honest, for the granting the companies. And the 3 winners for that were Squamish Climate Action Network, who got it for a cold food storage because of all the farms and small farmers, and we're just trying to like get access to food and equitable food access, and then also make it easier for farmers to get their food to people without having to go through grocery chains, etc. And then Recycle Squamish Rebuild and DOX, which is our new recycling depot rebuild hub area. They got one for a lot of upgrades to their site because they're actually under one. Recycle Bicycle is going to relocate there. They're going to turn into a community hub resource for the community, which is fantastic. And the last one was Helping Hands. Squamish Helping Hands are under one roof, partnered with the food bank. And so basically it's a bit of a feasibility needs assessment, but they're looking at extending their reach and addressing barriers for people accessing food, because there's a lot of like stigma about coming to a food bank, right? So they're like, how can we reach populations we're not getting yet with our food bank services? And that's again that whole, and then also working on their repurposing and food rescuing. So like those were the $20,000 pot winners each, which was really exciting, and it really going to move the dial for those organizations. And then 10 businesses, but it could be a nonprofit or an enterprise. So I use the organizations, won $5,000 each. And it was interesting because I was a little bit apprehensive. I honestly was like, oh, are we going to get a bunch of, folks that just want recycling bins for their office? I was unsure about what kind of scope we would get. And I want to say for the 10 winners, we had probably, I want to say 28 applicants for that. And for the 20,000 pot of money, we had 13 or 14 applicants. So like there was a lot of people applied for this. And the range of projects we got. So again, the theme again was circular economy, right? So we had some, the micro grant is what we called the $5,000 one, was the requirements were a lot smaller because it was a smaller pot of money and we want to make it easy. And so there were a lot of people who were like, I offer a repair business, but to like scale up my business, I need this tool. So there was like a lady who repairs climbing shoes. We're in a lot of climbers here. There was someone who does like repairs outdoor gear. Or there was a guy who's like a local handyman. And so he does like repairs in general. And he was like, I just need more tools. So that stuff was funded. But then there was also people like a WRM, the property management company. It wants to look at waste audits and like waste rooms and all of the houses that they service and apartment buildings they service. It was really, really, really incredible. I have to say, and highly successful. And um, we have applied for a second. So the grant closed, like there was a second round of funding available. So it just closed recently, and we did apply for a second round of funding. Um, but that funding would have hopefully one more granting opportunity in it. We'll see if we get it. But then it would also focus on procurement. So for a focus a little bit internally, how can we make make our procurement practices more circular in particular? So it was really, really, really successful. Really, just I have to say, and Sue, I would love you to share your opinions, but I was at the closing event, and I just seeing the people connecting because you got the lady repairing climbing shoes, and you got the guy that's doing outdoor gear. They're both renting space in Squamish, and they're like, oh, why don't we co-locate and then save on rent and maybe share stuff? Like, do you know, like those conversations were happening, and it was really, really inspiring to see. And and I don't know how we're going to keep the momentum alive. That's something that we're kind of trying to figure out internally. But we will we want to keep it going. And so what I wanted to share, and maybe while I try and do some IT things, and Vanessa, do you mind letting me be able to? Oh yeah, great. You already did it because you're amazing. Thank you. Maybe Sue, while I bring that up, do you want to share anything I've missed? Because Sue was really more involved than I was. Like I said, I kind of came in, came out, came in at the end. But Sue was part of it the whole way through. So I don't know, Sue, while I bring it up, the video, do you want to fill in any gaps I've missed?
Oh, not so much gaps. It was just I think it'd be really good if there could be the funding for the second round because one of the challenges with any new program is trying to recruit people. It was run over the summer, so that's something that we learned. It's we did have people that signed up and were very keen, but then we're very busy over the summer. And so kind of going at off-peak times for Squamish businesses might be helpful. We had some new businesses that hadn't started yet, but they were uh, working on their setup and stuff. And so you almost wonder, it's like, oh, could there be a separate stream for businesses that haven't committed to certain systems yet, where it's easier to change their systems, but having those conversations and understanding what some of the changes are that they could make would be good. And then I think, Shannon mentioned the energy at the wrap up event, and I think a lot of some of what the participants really appreciated was that connection with other businesses within Squamish that were trying to do something similar. And so you could see if you had a second cohort of people, that the word of mouth would probably help to get that second cohort, but also that the next cohort might be interested in meeting the first set of people to start sharing ideas and having more of those synergies. What was really interesting is for that bigger grant, you had to kind of collaborate with other organizations. And I think that fostering of collaboration, especially among small businesses, is pretty positive. And I think, it was a short time frame to try to measure outcomes from it, but I think it'll continue to have benefits. And I think that, some of the businesses will definitely be continuing to do things, even if they didn't get the grant money from it. I think there's going to be other things that will come up. And I think also linking them to some resources like I think it's the Squamish Business Association says, oh, we can help write grants. And House Sound Community Futures is like, oh, we've got resources, we can help people too. So I think some of that was helpful too, because small businesses generally don't have enough time to look around and see what is available all the time. So, and then I think, Shannon, there's supposed to be some sort of asset mapping thing that'll happen. And that's a separate part outside of the WCS project, but something that is kind of a neat idea for communities to be able to map out what assets do we have, what things are sitting around that businesses are willing to share or rent to others, so that there's kind of like the library. Not everybody has to go out and buy everything. There could be more sharing.
Thank you, Sue. That's so great. Yes. And I have to say, because I was on the evaluation panel for both of those grants, and just like it was so close. Like while I named the top three that won the bigger pot of money, like I had some follow-up calls with the people who didn't win, and like numbers 4, 5, 6 were like it was a hard decision. So which made me glad we had kind of a very good evaluation guide, I'm not gonna lie, done by Halal. And it was, yeah, it was really, really impressive. Yeah, like collaboration between, electricians and construction companies and maybe a heat pump provider, for example, or, just like ones that you might not think of, who might not normally come together on a grant proposal. So okay, so I cannot see anybody, I'll tell you that. So can you see my screen?
Yes,
Just
we
one
can.
second. Okay, thanks. And I'm gonna play it, and can you just let me know if you can't hear anything, okay? And it's 3 minutes long, so just thank you for watching. Welcome to Squamish, where we're embracing a circular future. Nestled between ocean and mountains, our vibrant community is redefining how we use resources to build a sustainable and thriving economy. Located on the traditional lands of the Squamish Nation, Squamish combines small town charm with big city conveniences, offering strong connections to global networks. Our diverse sectors, from clean tech to outdoor recreation, are driving growth with a focus on environmental stewardship. With the Circular Economy Roadmap and programs like Trailblazer, we're empowering businesses to lead the way in creating a resilient and prosperous future for all. The circular economy in Squamish is about maximizing resources by reducing waste, reusing materials, and extending product life. We focus on choosing materials that support natural systems, designing products that will last and be reused, and turning waste into valuable resources.
I think the circular economy really is the economy of the future. So I think it's incredibly important as we develop as a community that we set ourselves up to be well positioned for that future.
So we were inspired to participate in the Trailblazer program because we were excited to learn about what other organizations or businesses are doing. It's a great opportunity to possibly collaborate with the business community and other nonprofits as well.
It just fit because obviously the environmental piece is all right there, but so is the social, because for us, being part of this program not only allows us to do, fulfill our own mission internally, but also participate and maybe collaborate. With any luck, we'll, have some collaborations that maybe could benefit us as well. And
I would say that we are doing a lot of circular economy practices already, which is really exciting to hear. But I think it's been exciting to learn more about reducing our single waste packaging and trying to figure out how we can be more sustainable on that side.
some of our key takeaways from participating in this program to date is just how much it's needed, and how it's important to really shift your mindset where it's not just let's install something that's a new low carbon technology, but it's really about looking at the total impact of what we're doing, which a big part of that is how can we extend the lifespan of the equipment that's currently serving our clients' homes and businesses.
It's just been really nice to see that other businesses are also thinking about things and struggling to find solutions, but also learning that you can just start really small. So you don't have to do a huge change in your business. You can just start small and slowly work up from that. It's been inspiring to hear the dozens of examples and guest speakers that we've had, just to hear about how people have either adapted circular principles into an existing business or developed a business with circularity as a primary focus.
By adopting circular solutions, businesses can identify ways to save money, build strong community partnerships, open up new revenue streams, and create a more reliable supply chain, in addition to attracting customers who care about the same values. Most importantly, they're becoming part of a movement that conserves resources, reduces waste, and fights climate change. Get involved in Squamish's circular economy and help shape a sustainable future. Visit our website or contact us today to join this exciting journey. Oh no, sorry. I don't know what this is. Okay, sorry. Let me figure this out. But yeah, I just want to say a really big shout out to Jen Stone, who was the original applicant for the original visionary, can I say, and put the grant application together this time last year. She really, pulled it together, and really just trying to find that place where we can support business community because they don't, there's a lot of small businesses don't have time to think about this stuff. Or Stone's Market, who was featured in that video, like they one of their staff member came to all of the workshops, But I think, and they actually won the micro grant as well to do like a communications campaign, but it's not always something that businesses are willing to spend money on, right? So by the district making it as easy as possible, we were able to like support businesses in finding that circularity. Those places, right? The circularity for Fox and Oak donut shop is going to be different than, the bike repair company in town. But it's just like it was really, really, really cool. And while I give a big shout out to Jen, also Halal, who like basically was like building the whole program and working with the WCS team. So yeah, it's really cool. And I would love to offer it. I don't know if we can fund it ourselves, like moving forward. I think without the grant, I'm not sure what we could do, especially right now with this day and age with folks' taxes increasing already. It would be hard. I suspect it might be a hard sell to our politicians to be like, okay, and we're going to like offer businesses a grant from taxpayer dollars, but this was fully grant funded, so which is great. So, Mary Lou, I saw your comment. I will definitely drop the grant in the chat. I have no idea if there's more. Just on the note of grants, the Clean BC grant closes on December 4th, which is like impossible if you're not already working on it, but um, just as a note, we're not applying for it, but putting the note there. But yeah, anyway, it was very exciting, and exciting for Circular Squamish as well. So that's what I wanted to share, an update.
That's great. That's really interesting, and it's like shout out to the District of Squamish to pull that together. This is awesome. I'm super stoked that you got the grant and you had a like big success in this. So hopefully that creates momentum and there's more grants. And that's why like just keeping an eye on those grants, even sometimes if you miss the deadline, it's just knowing that they do exist and they might come back. So it's always great. So thank you so much. We're gonna, do we have any questions or comments for Shannon and Sue? Yes, Carmen.
I thought that was so awesome. I can't tell you. I'm really impressed. It's given me some ideas that we might be working on. Thanks.
Awesome.
And I should add, I think I just like during our break today, so like very new, I did email our communications team because I think that what we haven't done enough is celebrate all the little like these businesses that won and that participated, and maybe like can we do to put a thing in the newspaper highlighting them and stuff like that? Because I think what actually I always feel like I'm plugged into the community. I know what's going on, and but Squamish is growing so much that half the people who applied for the grant is like, wow, I have never heard of this company before. So yeah, I just feel like I feel like I'm continually learning from everybody as well.
Awesome. Okay, we're down to solid waste and resource management plan update. So we're gonna pull kind of like a document that we created a while ago, years ago, I want to say, that kind of like highlight all the initiatives that were part of the 2016 plan. I just highlighted the one that are either in progress or we haven't started yet. And I'm going to provide an update. And obviously, if you have any questions throughout, just raise your hands or open your mic so we can give you the space to ask questions and provide comments. So I don't know. I, I don't have a good vision even with glasses. So let us know if it's not big enough. I know for me that it's not big enough.
Make it a little bigger. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see people like getting closer to the screen. I was like, yeah, definitely need to be bigger.
How's
Thank
that? Is that good enough? Yeah. My screen is like huge and 4K, so I can see, but
Yeah, that's kind of like the reality between Vanessa and I. Every time we share screens, I'm like, bigger. Okay, so as part of the initiatives in the 2016 Solid Waste Management Plan, there was this ICI and multifamily communication strategy, which Regional District of Squamish, Whistler, it's ongoing. You're working on that. You're doing, like, I think you're doing great progress with the ICI and the multifamily. Um, we don't have that many ICI and multifamily within the SRD boundaries, but what we want to do, and we haven't been able to do in 2024, but what we want to take on for 2025, it's to hire someone and get a good understanding of what we have on our site within different elected areas and member municipalities maybe that are not like beside West Squamish and Wester, and really get a better idea of how many of those multifamily, how many of those ICI do we have, and what are they doing in terms of like the solid waste? Do they have waste room? Do they have the tree streams collection and kind of all that information? So we haven't made progress, but it's been on our to-do list, and it would really want to take on in 2025, kind of like as part of the solid waste management plan update, bringing all that information. So we have, however, we now have a guideline for the design for the new development that aligns with Squamish and Whistler. So sorry. Um, I just saw my partner grabbing the dog. I think he did wrong. I think my dog uh, did something wrong during the walk. Sorry about that. So yeah, so we now have like a design and requirements when they do build new multifamily or ICI. So this is on the go. We had shared it with other members, municipalities. I don't know if you received it, Tom, but let us know if you haven't and you would like to receive it. We can definitely share it with you. I know you've been so so there's that. The second line item is a tourist accommodation communication strategy. I don't know if Whistler and Squamish, if you have any update on this, if you have been working on that specific a specific one. We do know, however, that Destination BC is also working. On those diversion initiatives with the tourism sectors. I don't know if you've been in contact with them to see, like, just make sure that we all align and we're all working together on this. So I'm going to throw the question to Shannon.
I have not. I saw it and I thought, well, Whistler's more of a tourist accommodation place than I am, so they can participate. But I did that without talking to Whistler, so sorry, Andrew.
No,
Maybe
it's
you
all
guys
good.
did?
I wish I had an update for you today, but I do not. But I'll have to follow up and we'll get you some information on that.
Perfect. Awesome. And have you been in contact with Destination BC, Andrew, or have you heard of them? And
Yes, yes, absolutely. But I just don't have any update of recent correspondence.
no worries.
Um,
We'll probably ask you for the next for the next meeting.
Mary Lou, I can say though that so Destination BC is the one who's doing that waste in place or don't love this place to death campaigns, and I can say that we've been sharing those regularly. So that's something that's been going out through our communications team.
Awesome. Perfect. And then we have the construction and demolition communication strategy. I know, again, Western Squamish have been working on that, and not only on the communication strategies, but on bylaws and really working hard on the diversion from that sectors. DSRD, we haven't done progress on that one. Again, hopefully we're going to be able to take on in 2025, because we know it's a really impactful, it's really impactful on the waste going to landfill, and there's so much that can be that we can do to help and support diversion of that sector. So yeah, let me know. I'm going like quite fast, but please let us know if you have any questions. I just know that it's a busy afternoon, so I'm gonna try to get over it. Expansion of zero waste workshops. I think we are working towards that, like increasing workshops, increasing zero waste workshops. DSRD now with the diversion ambassadors that Vanessa has been working on with her partner in the north, with the Lillooet hub. We've been able to make great progress on that. Vanessa provided an update earlier, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on this one, but it's just an ongoing trying to do more and provide more. But we're really happy with the expansion that we were able to do in the north. So that's a big win for the SROD and for the northern communities within the SROD. The Bear Smart backyard composting. I know for it's always a little bit challenging to promote bear smart backyard composting. We do focus on that where within our communities that we don't have proper organics diversion. And again, Vanessa is working, like they've been providing workshops with the Pemberton Stewardship, I want to say. Vanessa, please correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not involved in those. But it's something that we promote in a really try to have workshops so they know how to do it and do the right way so we're not attracting wildlife. But it's definitely a little bit hard in areas that we do not have proper composting or we don't provide food waste diversion. EPR awareness, it's something that we do on an ongoing basis, either with our EPR or with the province directly. And I want to let Vanessa provide an update from the ministry because I wasn't sitting on the call when they talk about the 5 years plan of the EPR and the future of the EPRs as we went through. We just closed the BC elections.
And Shannon was there as well, so if I miss any parts, but essentially, they were just telling us that they're waiting. So the Ministry of Environment is waiting for their mandate letter, which they're expecting is going to come in January before they can begin any work. And then from there, they're going to have to present their work package with staff recommendations to the cabinet before a decision can be made of whether or not is going to take place. But they also said that if the timeline changes, the timeline that they've currently provided, they will let us know. So far, they haven't said that the timeline is going to change.
Thanks, Vanessa. So yeah, EPR awareness, it's just an ongoing thing that we all member, like everyone involved in solid waste across the province is working on and pushing for, because we understand that if we want to do more diversions, we do need EPRs. We do need support from the province. So it's not only on municipalities or on taxpayers to support those diversion programs. In terms of promoting local construction, demolition, reuse, recycling opportunities, it's something that we again we'll have to push to 2025. 2024 went so fast. It's insane when you think about everything you're doing and then you look at the list of where you haven't made progress. It's a little bit daunting, but we're we're positive that we'll be able to make progress on this one in 2025.
Can I also make a note that when we say we haven't made progress, it doesn't mean that we haven't been in conversations and contributing with partners on like what are they doing, what can we be done? So we are engaging in those conversations, but we don't have any concrete actions.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't mean that we haven't been, working like a little bit on the side. It's just like nothing concrete as came out of it. But I know like Vanessa is thinking about that like on a regular basis. In terms of the Rebuild Center, like there's the Rebuild Center facility in Pemberton and in Lillooet that are on our list. We all know that it's greater than just the SRRD like building infrastructures. It's a little bit more challenging than just hoping that an organization will take over and provide the service. So it's still something that I see great value for both communities, but we haven't been able to make any progress on this one. And I don't want to commit and say 2025, 2026, because it's a little bit more, it's quite challenging and it's a little bit hard to get it started and to find partners and to find location. So yeah, this one we haven't moved, even if it's so needed and so important in our communities. Fund for local zero waste initiatives. It is pushed to 2025, but I know that Vanessa made good progress on that. It's just not completed and ready. So hopefully we'll be able to launch it in 2025. The next one, curbside recycling and yard waste collection in Lillooet. The reason I mentioned canceled, it's because basically for the curbside recycling, Lillooet does not meet the Recycle BC requirements. And it's not something that we can take on or just us. It would require a really different approach on recycling and different way of handling the recyclables at the Lillooet landfill and recycling center. So unless Recycler BC at some point change the requirements and Lillooet, District of Lillooet meets it, we cannot move forward on this one. Recycling waste minimization at events. Vanessa, can you update on this one?
I was typing a message. Could you repeat that, please?
The recycling waste minimization at events.
Oh, yes. So we were in conversation with an organization to build a guide to help event planners through the process of minimizing waste at events. And we were engaging with Whistler and Squamish to see kind of like what they want to see in this plan. But unfortunately, the contractor wasn't able to go through with it. So the plan is to get a different contractor in 2025.
Thank you. Expense Squamish landfill. Well, it's a multi-year process. So, Shannon, if you have significant updates during the roundtable, feel free to mention it. But it is a multi-year process. The solid waste management plan has been amended, the ministry approved it, and then it's just going through the process right now at the District of Squamish level. establishing a working group with the responsibility of evaluating residual waste management options. Community did not meet in 2024. Let's make sure we meet in 2025. And then evaluate the requirements for Lillooet landfill, remain compliant with the BC landfill criteria. So we had a list of different things that were we needed to get done. So we've been working at it over the years. So far, we were hoping to install a groundwater monitoring well in 2024. We have not been successful with the process. The cost was really, really high. So we decided to push to 2025 and hopefully get better quotes. We were a little bit later in the year and we thought like maybe contractors weren't interested in the work. They didn't need the work. And so they were bidding way higher than what was reasonable. But it is, we're going to schedule it for 2025. And the SRD is working with Sperling Hansen as the professional to locate the best place for a groundwater monitoring well and all of that. So, but the remaining, the design operation and closure plan was completed. The contaminating lifespan assessment was part of the DOCP. Landfill gas monitoring probes were installed in 2023. Gas monitoring on-site building was installed in 2022. And a fire break was creating in 2019 and maintained annually. So those were the main the items that were left when they did the review of the BC landfill criteria. Regional illegal dumping strategy. We've completed the strategy. Actually, we hired Sue with EcoInspire to create the strategy, which has been completed. We promote the Don't Love It to Death from Destination BC. But beside that, SRD did not have the capacity to take on more actions from that strategy so far. Hopefully in the near future, we'll be able to. In terms of wildlife, so the require commercial collection containers to be animal proof in electoral areas. So SRD has a bylaw asking for that. It's just a little bit difficult in some areas where they don't have the service provider to provide those bins. So it's something that I want to look at. How can we encourage, how can we enforce, how can we try to provide, to request more of those animal proof containers. Those are being provided in electoral area D and C. For electoral area A and B, it's a little bit, I want to say it's maybe a little bit more challenging, but it shouldn't prevent us from having those conversations and making progress. I am not sure where we are with the village of Pemberton on this one and the district of Lillooet. Tom, do you, on your end, do you have those requirements for waste containers?
No, but we try to, but we're not required. No.
Okay.
We're there. Yeah, we try and use them, but we're not fully adopted them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We have
It's
we have trouble. We have problems.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, again, so it's ongoing. There's areas that we can make greater progress. Oh yeah, Sue, you have a question.
Yeah, it is now a good time, Mary Lou?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure. So I was just thinking when we developed the illegal dumping strategy, there was a fair amount of momentum. Like a lot of the people we interviewed were quite excited about it because a lot of different organizations touch on little pieces of it, but of course, none of them wanted to take on the whole thing. And with that intention to have some sort of funding be available for community groups to be able to do things, I wonder maybe even in advance of that, and I haven't talked at all to Carmen, but I just kind of think, could there be funding that would go out or be made available to a community group to coordinate the meetings? Because I think at the very least, that could be the first step, because a lot of groups are already doing things, and sometimes it's just a matter of information sharing. And so if there were funding available for a community group to be able to coordinate those meetings, then that might make it seem a little bit less daunting than if you kind of felt that, oh, the SLRD staff is going to have to do everything. There would be some parts it'd be great that they could do in terms of changing policy and stuff, but I think there's stuff that could happen even without that.
Yeah, yes, Carmen.
I do. Now, I can't speak on behalf of the PWA board, but we do have some money available that we've been granting out every year. So if there was some piece that was possible for us and we got a proper application, I am pretty sure that it would go through the board. So we do have some money that particularly handling any animal conflict. As you know, we've just had a terrible event in Pemberton, and I only see these events getting more and more frequent. So if there is some opportunity for us to provide funding, of course, I would have to take it through the board. I have to stress that, but we do have money available.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll get in touch with you, Carmen, and see
Okay.
where we can make progress.
Okay.
We do since that we do have a specific budget for the illegal dumping cleanup. Like in the past, it was kind of like every time was like questions to either does the operation have budget for it, or do we need to request additional money to elected official? Now we have a specific budget for illegal dumping.
That's
But
awesome.
but again, that's not being proactive, right?
Yeah.
It's really being reactive. In terms of wildlife, we also, like every year now, we've been successful in getting a grant to get a wildlife coordinator. So that's always great. And it's the hardest part is when you get a new coordinator every year, like the
Yeah.
time they need to be trained and adjust and know the area. So, but at some point, like that is a success within the SRRD. Do we need more wildlife coordinator? For sure. The territory is huge, but we have been successful with one for the last, I want to say 5 years now,
Yeah.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
So hopefully next year we still have a coordinator.
So if there are action items that these small groups identify and they need funding, say there's a need to purchase animal-proof garbage containers, then depending on what the dollar value is, we would be interested in looking at doing that. We, up until last year, I don't know what Stewardship Pemberton did, but we've been funding the fruit gleaning program to the tune of about $7,000 a year. and that helps to pay for the coordinator and stuff like that. So anything that would relate to removing attractants or providing barriers to wildlife getting into attractants, we would be interested in looking at that from a funding point of view.
Awesome. This is awesome. So we'll then get in touch with you.
Okay.
The Yagoda was the SLRD who oversee the wildlife like Wildlife BC coordinator program now. So we'll definitely be in touch and see how can we work together and remove barriers, right?
We would also be interested in working hand to hand with Costa Cascades, getting a bear aversion officer in place, or some type of support like that through the conservation officers. I know everybody is so understaffed, but we are facing a serious problem that is only going to get worse. So if we can prevent habitation happening again, we're very interested in pursuing that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I made a note. Okay. And then the last one that we have on the list is the waste composition study. Not going to spend much more time. I updated with the 2024 for Britannia Beach and Furry Creek. However, we will, I think Shannon and I were on the same page, and it's after speaking with other consultant that we're looking at shifting to a 5-year cycle instead of a 2-year cycle. Just every 2 years, we don't see that much changes, and the cost is significant. So maybe if we were to do a 5-year cycle, we'll provide better, like as good data, and then we can, at least for the SRD, we could maybe better align with doing it all across. Like every 2 years, it's sometimes a little bit struggle. It's a struggle for the smaller facilities that the SRD oversee. Let's say for Goldbridge, for example, and Divine, we haven't done one because we don't have the funding for. So it's not like 5 years, not kind of like a set. It's just like 2 years. It's getting a little bit too quick. But yeah, that's kind of like quick update on where we're at and what still needs to be worked on in terms of initiatives for the 2016, sorry, the 2016 plan. And that brings us to kind of like the solid waste management plan update. I think you can stop sharing, Vanessa.
Okay, and just so you know, Marilou, we're 6 minutes over time.
Okay.
So we gotta wrap it up.
Sorry. So solid waste and resource management plan. We're still working on a request for proposal. The timeline, I was hoping to get it out before end of the year. It's not going to be possible. So my target now is like early 2025, the first few months of 2025. I'm still working on a draft. And we sent an email to all of you guys in terms of like, if you have anything that you really want to get in terms of like the solid waste management plan scope of work, you still have time, please let us know. I took notes for following our conversation we had with the library, making sure they're involved in the solid waste management plan update when we do engagement. I guess my question is, and I don't have a clear idea, do we want this group to review the scope of work or do we want to create a smaller group and review the scope of work? So like it kind of aligns with member municipalities, organization. It's not only the SRD, we're not missing any pieces that could have been added to the scope of work when we do an RFP, a request for proposal. So I will open the floor. Let me know. Nobody wants to be involved in the scope of
Sorry, Mary Lou, are you asking us if we, sorry, Andrew, are you asking us if we want to be involved in the scoping exercise?
Yeah.
Did I miss that? Yes,
Yeah.
please. I would like to be involved. I also
Perfect.
can't find the email. So can somebody please resend it? Apologies.
So the email wasn't the scope of work, it was the 5-year review.
That Sue did a while ago?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay. Yes,
So
sorry.
the
I did
idea
get
of
that.
sending the update, the 5-year review was to get you back in the solid waste management plan mode and be like, okay, what do we want? Like in terms of the update. But we can send another email a little bit that is a little bit clearer with a draft of the scope of work, and let's get a group together and finalize it. So then we can get the request for proposal out in early 2025. And what I'll do is we'll send an email to the entire PMAC team asking people to participate if they are interested. Not going to make it obligatory, but voluntary. And hopefully we have a good group that we can discuss.
Mary Lou, that might be the best approach. I just, for us, the RMOW, we totally want to participate. So, but as far as the others, I'm not sure who is interested. There's probably a lot of material to cover. So we need to, figure out what we want to include.
Exactly. And like how do we want to separate the outreach engagement element from the review, like the planning on itself? So I know like in the past it was like 2 entities that done it. So there's different strategies that the SRD that we can take, and would be great to have input from others, so we're all on the same page and aligned, and we're getting the best plan for our need, really, and our vision. Let me go back. Did I miss anything on the agenda? So we're not going to have time for roundtable.
No, so that's what I was writing in the chat. I'm going to send out an email asking for everybody to send me an update. And then Shannon recommended I consolidate them because it's easier. And then we'll send a massive update because I think it's so helpful when we hear what others are working on, right? It's easier to collaborate together. So I'll send that out.
Perfect. Thank you. So thank you so much. And I'm so sorry, 12 minutes late. So thank you. Thank you all again. Tom, I'll be contacting you, sending you the information. Carmen, the same. Shannon, Friday, thank you so much for what you're doing in the south of the SRRD. Squamish-Can is a great organization to work with. So shout out to you. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, if sometimes you wonder, hey, have you worked on this? Send us an email.
Or if you want to work together with us on something, send us an email.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. Thank you all.
Have a nice evening,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Bye.